Everyone loves a freshly grilled hot dog, right? Okay, maybe not everyone's experience with grilled hot dogs is the same. While early reactions to Mortal Kombat appeared to be mixed, to say the least, several aspects of director Simon McQuoid's feature-length debut have garnered universal praise for perfectly capturing the essence of NetherRealm source material. Character interactions, especially those between mascots Sub-Zero and Scorpion, have been labeled runaway high points of the adaptation, as too have the movie's fatalities. For folks not familiar with the games, the term refers to gruesome cinematic finishers which players can perform at the conclusion of a match. After all, when you get a grilled hot dog done right, it tastes pretty amazing, like childhood summers, baseball, and backyard parties filled with family and friends. When you get a grilled hot dog that's less than that, it's basically just a meat stick of disappointment and dread. Pulling these off usually requires memorization of a specific string of button presses and more often than not results in the unfortunate recipient losing several limbs, or worse. As an iconic part of the franchise's identity, the film's crew knew they needed to be included, even if that meant the MPA dishing out an R rating to account for gallons of the red stuff being spilled on screen. Suffice it to say, then, the fatalities depicted haven't failed to impress and fan reception has been overwhelmingly positive. There's so much that can go wrong. Check out just some of the reactions for yourself below. If you know the storyline of Mortal Kombat, this movie stick to it most of the time. They got all the moves and fatalities down pack. Big Shenron Dragonface, at Chris Cheats, April 23, 2021. As far as video game movies go, #Mortal Kombat delivers gory fanservice fun. While its narrative is mostly perfunctory gibberish, McQuoid and co. nail the look of impressive MK roster on display, along with the brutal fatalities to back them up. Maybe the hot dog tastes like mystery meat. An adequate update on a classic. Maybe it's burnt to a char. Maybe it's not cooked well at all. Maybe it's about as plain as that bun. But that's just because there are so many simple mistakes people can make when grilling their hot dogs. From not purchasing the right hot dogs in the first place to not prepping the grill correctly to not really paying attention to the cooking process. If you want to recreate those perfect grilled hot dogs of your dreams, the ones that take you back to those perfect childhood summers, you're going to want to take a look at our list of the top mistakes people make when grilling hot dogs, and then do everything in your power to avoid them. Not buying the right hot dogs. First up, if you're not buying the right kinds of hot dogs, you're just not going to have a stellar experience. Yes, it's tempting to buy the budget brand hot dogs that are on sale, but you'll regret it. Trust us. pic.twitter.com/FNEOUYA7CT, J, @NotFunnyJ, April 23, 2021. #Mortal Kombat 2021 is probably the best video game movie ever. Characters are well written and casted, story fits the lore, fights are well made and fatalities are flawless. You'll always regret it. The bare minimum measure of quality when it comes to hot dogs? An all-beef center. 8.5, 10, S23 Reef Bear, at S23 Reef, April 23, 2021. Glad I woke up early to watch the new Mortal Kombat movie. Story was super silly and blood was to CGI, but the fights kept on getting better and better as movie went on, which was awesome. 11/10 would watch all those freaking awesome fatalities again. #Mortal Kombat movie. Lionheart Gaming. At Lionheart6667, April 23, 2021. Just watched #Mortal Kombat. Fight scenes were great. The fatalities were great. If the packaging says that the hot dog is made up of some strange mixture of chicken, beef, and pork, you probably ought to stay away. The story was mediocre. The characters were mediocre. After all, you don't really want to mix up all of those proteins in any other dish you make, so why would you want to do that for your hot dog? Another sign of sure quality? If the hot dog has a natural casing made from pork or lamb, you're likely in good hands. You want something that's going to snap when you bite into it. When a hot dog snaps, that means it's fresh. Not paying attention to your hot dog's skin. Along these lines, you want to pay attention to what your hot dog's packaging says about its casings, or skin. Natural pork and lamb casings are the most desirable, as they not only provide that snap, but they also hold in all of the hot dog's natural juices. I think I would have enjoyed it more if I was more familiar with the games. All things considered, a great movie, looking forward to the sequel. XLR. 1, at XLRQ11, April 23, 2021. Finished watching the Mortal Kombat movie. But don't be fooled if you see a hot dog that claims it's made with a cellulose casing, because that's not a real casing at all, and you don't want it. What's the difference? In the instance of a natural casing, the casing is retained through cooking and then when eating. It was fucking awesome how everyone had their fatalities happen normally and then they'd say, "Victory" to themselves. If a hot dog uses a cellulose casing, though, that means the maker simply fills the casing with their hot dog meat, smokes it, and then peels the casing off before packaging and selling the hot dog. Lots of blood, so that made it better too. Recommend if you like the video game series. Dominican women stan account Dominican Republic 2 Hearts. At ElOfficial Fi. April 23, 2021. Mortal Kombat was a blast. Was it a great movie? Nah. That means the hot dog doesn't come with an intact casing and it is, essentially, skinless. That means no snap and nothing to hold in those juices. So, when you're shopping for some hot dogs, look for the natural casings only. Freezing your hot dogs ahead of time. According to the USDA, hot dogs last about 2 weeks in the fridge, unopened. But it was very much the movie I wanted from a Mortal Kombat film in 2021. The fatalities are pretty great and some of the character interactions were actually pretty well done. A worthy start in my book. #Mortal Kombat Movie. Your boy Gore, at G or the Movie God. April 23, 2021. Mortal Kombat, 2021. The best video game movie adaptation I have ever seen. As a person who plays MK ever since, this is a very special treat for us. All the Easter eggs, the fatalities, the fights. Damn, the actors didn't even need a stunt double. Then, after opening, they last a week. However, if you pop those pups in the freezer, they'll last 1 to 2 months at top quality and indefinitely at subpar quality. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. The problem isn't with the freezing itself, though, it's in the defrosting. According to today's experts, if you don't thoroughly ensure that your dogs have completely come up to room temperature all the way through, they just won't cook evenly, and you'll have a difficult time. You might even find that your hot dog is burnt to a crisp on the outside before it even becomes remotely warm on the inside. Ew. So, to play it safe, don't freeze your hot dogs. Already waiting for the sequel. pic.twitter.com/7mcbmajx01. Leg. At LEJJJJI. April 23, 2021. I think #Mortal Kombat knows what kind of movie it is, and it does it well. It sets up a universe well enough, provides solid action, and has some faithful fatalities. Reminds me of #Roadhouse, where the movie is absurd but the actors sell it straight, except for Josh Lawson. Just purchase the hot dogs within 2 weeks of when you plan to eat them. Poking or splitting, or not poking or splitting, the hot dog's okay, so this one is a bit of a contentious issue. You have scores of people who swear by butterflying their hot dogs, so why would I tell you to never poke or split your hot dogs? It all comes down to the type of hot dog you purchase. If you take the above advice and only buy hot dogs that feature a natural pork or lamb casing, you won't want to poke or split your hot dog because you'll damage the casing and then you'll no longer get that great snap and you release all the tasty juices into the bottom of your grill. However, if you don't care for natural casings and you only eat hot dogs made with cellulose casings, then, yes, you can butterfly, poke, split, or treat your hot dogs however, because you won't be losing anything in the process. pic.twitter.com/DG5D1VBBRK. At Noobda just watched the Mortal Kombat movie at WB Pictures and it was a flawless victory with many fatalities. Ian Wade, at the INP, April 23, 2021. Absolutely loved #Mortal Kombat. Especially how it respects the lore while going insane with fireballs, laser eyes and fatalities straight out of the games. Hopefully we'll see a true tournament in a sequel since they basically spent the whole movie world building. Foggy, at Foggy Glass Eye, April 23, 2021. #Mortal Kombat was good. Had a lot of references and Easter eggs in there. Not the best with character development and the overall story was okay. The fight scenes were good. According to one Serious Eats food writer, that's really the only way to eat cellulose-cased hot dogs. To prevent unsightly and undesirable shriveled hot dogs, I've been slashing skinless Franks for years. The fatalities were great. Definitely interested in seeing where and if the movies continue. Crown, at TURANN_H, April 23, 2021. The new Mortal Kombat movie has some top-tier gore and fatalities. Omega. To Hubertaco, at Te Hubertaco, April 23, 2021. As for where Mortal Kombat's future on the big screen lies, It'll ultimately be down to how well it performs at the box office and on HBO Max. Several critical markets, including the UK and Europe, have yet to relax lockdown restrictions to the extent that theaters are able to properly reopen, meaning it'll be some time until Warner Bros. Skinless hot dogs cooked this way stay plumper and juicier and don't suffer the same shriveling of the skin. Not soaking your hot dogs ahead of grilling. If the last thing you want is a hot dog that's dry and lacking in flavor, soaking your hot dogs ahead of grilling them could be exactly the new step to add to your normal hot dog cooking process. Is able to make the call on whether NetherRealm is worth a second and potential third revisit. Joe Taslim, who plays Sub-Zero, revealed earlier this week that he's been contracted to appear in multiple installments, so there's certainly already a plan in place to expand the universe. But do you think sequels are warranted, or is Mortal Kombat a one-and-done affair as far as you're concerned? Let us know in the usual place below. While it's not 100% necessary, it is a quick and easy way to add an extra hit of flavor and moisture to any hot dog. There are a few ways you can go about this. Traeger Grills recommends bathing your hot dogs in a simmering ale or other flavorful liquid of your choice for a few minutes before you grill them, so long as you're careful not to simmer the hot dogs so much that you actually cook them. One Epicurus writer takes a similar approach by partially poaching their hot dogs before grilling. Their process is simply to heat a saucepan of water to about 150 degrees Fahrenheit, then turn the heat way down and add the hot dogs, letting them sit in the hot bath for about 10 minutes. From there, you can go on to grill your hot dogs without worrying about getting them to just the right temperature in the middle or cooking them so long that they end up a dry, shriveled mess. Not cleaning and oiling up the grill ahead of time. Once you're ready to start cooking those hot dogs, you need to take a look at your grill. Just like you wouldn't cook with a grime-encrusted, dirty pan in your kitchen, you don't want to cook on a grime-encrusted, dirty grill in your backyard. So, give it a clean with a grill brush, first and foremost. Then, you want to oil up your grill ahead of turning on the heat. This is vital to your hot dog cooking experience, because if you skip this step, you're very likely to end up with hot dogs that simply won't rotate easily or that altogether stick to your grates. And no one wants to spend their grill session ripping hot dogs off a grate. For oil, you can either spray your grill grates with a non-stick spray from the kitchen or use a paper towel with a bit of high-heat oil, like peanut oil, and manually wipe down the grates. Leaving the grill. It's happened to us all before. You start up the grill and really get it going, you throw on some hot dogs, and then the distraction happens. Whether it's your thirst for another frosty beer from the fridge, a friend or family member who's just arrived at the barbecue, or shooing a hungry pup from beneath your feet. Whatever that distraction is, it effectively gets you away from the grill. Then when you return, your hot dogs are worse for wear. You might not even notice it at first, but once you start really paying attention to how your hot dogs turn out, you'll definitely realize that the more attention and love you give them, the better they'll be. That's because hot dogs take very little time to cook, and if you're cooking grass-fed beef hot dogs, they'll take even less time to cook. According to a Men's Health article, your average hot dog only takes about 2 to 3 minutes to char on each side, which means your hot dog will cook in 6 minutes or less. If you're cooking grass-fed beef hot dogs, they'll take about 1 minute per side, or 2 minutes total, due to the lower fat content. In other words, walking away for even a few seconds could spell disaster and dryness for your hot dogs. Letting the casing burst. We've already talked about how a high-quality hot dog is apt to have that tasty all-natural casing that just snaps when you bite into it, releasing all of those tasty spices and juices. But what if your hot dog snaps prematurely? That's exactly what can happen if you put the hot dogs over too high a heat, allowing the casing to burst and leaving you with a hot dog that's less than ideal. According to the Hoffman Sausage Company, which has been making German-style hot dogs since the late 1800s, high grill flames are your enemy when it comes to cooking hot dogs. The company, which is based out of Syracuse, New York, told Syracuse.com, "The trick is to not put the hot dogs over a high flame. Otherwise they're apt to split and burst open and leak juices and fat, which can lead to flare-ups." Cooking your hot dogs on too low a heat. But on the other side of things, while you don't want to cook your hot dogs over high heat, due to the risk of your hot dogs bursting open, you also don't want to cook your hot dogs over too low a grill heat. If you start your grill and don't allow it to heat up and just toss your hot dogs right on, you could end up with a tough, dry hot dog that's just been sitting over low heat for too long. The same thing could happen if you let your grill die down too much before adding your hot dogs. The key is striking just the right balance. According to the experts interviewed at Business Insider, the ideal grill temperature for cooking hot dogs is about 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Not sure how to check your grill's temperature? Use the hand test. If you can hold your palm roughly 3 inches above the grill gate and hold it there for 4 seconds before pulling it away, your grill is somewhere between 400 and 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Putting your hot dogs over direct heat. I know what you're thinking. Even more rules about hot dogs and heat? Well, it turns out that incorrect heat, whether it's too low or too high, can really ruin your hot dog experience. Additionally, according to today's meat experts, you shouldn't cook your hot dogs over direct heat, either. Avoid direct sources of heat and open flames, regardless of whether you're cooking with charcoal or gas. And, if you are cooking with charcoal, the experts recommend, wait until the coals are completely white before you add any of your food, hot dogs included, to your grill. This will ensure your temperature isn't too high. Charcoal brand Kingsford further recommends that, when cooking hot dogs over charcoal, only stack your charcoal on one side of your grill, so you can move your hot dogs around the grate if you find that the heat is too low or high in one spot after you start cooking. Grilling all your hot dogs on the same heat. Okay. This is the last heat-related mistake people commonly make when grilling hot dogs. It's grilling all of their hot dogs on the same heat. Not all hot dogs should be grilled at the same temperature, just like, as mentioned above, not all hot dogs can be grilled for the same amount of time, due to varying fat content. Grilling expert and condiment creator Julie Busha told Business Insider that grill masters at home should consider the fat content in the hot dogs to determine what heat you should be grilling at. Higher fat dogs should be cooked at a medium heat, whereas leaner dogs should be grilling on a medium-low setting. Look at your hot dog's fat content before you plop them on the grill. And if you know you specifically bought low-fat hot dogs, like some of the fat-free options on the market, or even turkey or chicken hot dogs, turn down that flame. Not rotating your hot dogs. Once you get your hot dogs on the grill and you're confident that you have the best heat level for your particular hot dogs, you can't just walk away. You have to rotate those dogs. Based on the fat content of your hot dogs, you'll want to rotate them every minute or every few minutes. You'll get a feel for how often you need to rotate by how quickly the hot dog casings develop grill marks. It's better to err on the side of rotating too quickly than it is to err on the side of rotating too slowly. And once you have grill marks all the way around, you're not done. As Good Housekeeping points out, you want to roll those dogs all the way to the coolest side of your grill, or, as Kraft Heinz recommends, move them to your grill's upper rack, if it has one, so that you can use your gas or charcoal heat for the next step in the necessary process for grilling a perfect hot dog. Not grilling your bun too, and that next step in the process? Grilling your bun, of course. Why would you put all this effort into lovingly creating a deliciously cooked, ideal hot dog, only to put it in a cold, tough, lackluster bun? Regardless of what kind of hot dog buns you buy, you can upgrade them with a little time on the grill. Just use the same heat you were using for your hot dogs, and once the dogs are done, toast up your buns for a minute or two. An NYC hot dog expert told NPR that adding a little bit of butter to the bun ahead of grilling helps, too. Mom's grilled cheese sandwich when you were a kid was always kind of made in a frying pan with butter, and was always delicious. Anything with butter on it is great. I'm not saying it's good for you, but. And if you're just plain bored with your average hot dog bun? Nathan's Famous has a few ideas for you to shake things up a little by adding your grilled dog to a baguette, pretzel bun, or even a tortilla. Not paying attention to your condiments. Oh, you thought once your hot dog was done and your bun was toasted that you were finished creating the perfect hot dog? Not so fast. You're going to want to pay close attention to your condiments, too.
While you could go with plain mustard and ketchup, if you really want to take your grilled hot dogs to the next level, you're going to want to get creative with your toppings. Don't be scared. Your hot dogs are a blank canvas on which you can paint an endless array of gourmet flavors. And if you're not exactly sure where to start, just check out these ideas from Food Network magazine, or try some of Oscar Mayer's out-of-the-box recommendations, like mango salsa or melted cheese. From diced tomatoes to basil, plum sauce to jalapenos, if you like it, chances are it'll probably taste pretty good on a hot dog.